Assessing the Raptors' need for center might be the key to success in this upcoming NBA entry draft. So in this video, I'm going to present to you the man dubbed the next Nikola Jokic, and he fits the system in Toronto. Let's get into it. Welcome everybody to Amateur Hour Sports, the channel where you get NBA content with a focus on the Toronto Raptors at least 4 days a week. That's Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday. This is your Saturday video where we are going through worst case draft lottery scenarios as the third part of our 3-part series. So if you like what you see from today's video and you want more of myself talking about the Raptors and other NBA content in videos just like this, make sure to hit that subscribe button down below to show your support to the channel. We just hit 3,400 subscribers and we are on our road to 4,000 subscribers. You can help us get to the milestone if you do enjoy the content. Thank you so much for the great support coming in over the last couple of weeks. But let's get into the video today. So again, this is the third part of the 3-part series. The third part is draft lottery worst case scenarios. On Monday, we did our most likely case scenario. So if the Raptors got the 7th or 8th pick in the draft, Wednesday we did our best case scenario where the Raptors got a top 4 pick and who we would pick there. If you want to go check out the videos, I would highly recommend it. But today, Saturday's video, we are talking about the worst case scenario on draft lottery night. So worst case scenario, well, absolute worst case scenario, the Raptors end up with the 11th overall pick. However, there is only about a 0.1% chance of that happening. But there is a very real possibility that the Raptors slip all the way down to the 10th overall pick in the draft, which obviously is worst case scenario as far as the draft goes. But if we somehow slip to that point, I still think we can land a good player here. And I assess your guys' comments. You talked about Monday and Wednesday how the Raptors need a center, so let's mix it up. We did 2 shooting guards already. Let's talk about a center. And the center I have for you today, again, is the man who has been called by many the next Nikola Jokic. And that man is Alperen Şengün out in Turkey playing for Besiktas. Now, immediately I'm going to say I apologize if I get his name wrong. I tried to study. I tried to get his name right. So please forgive me and or correct me if I don't pronounce his name right, because I'm pronouncing like that for the rest of this video. But Alperen Şengün playing in Turkey, playing for Besiktas, playing with men. He is 18 years old, 6'10" center / power forward. There is a lot to like about this player. This video is going to be a full draft profile breakdown of this player. We're going to go through his Super League stats in Turkey. Then we're going to assess his strengths. We're going to assess his weaknesses. And finally, we are going to finish on a player comparable. And by the way, that player comparable is not going to be Nikola Jokic, so make sure you stick around to see who that is. But let's dive into those career stats out in Turkey. Playing in the Basketball Super League in Turkey, this guy is an offensive machine, no doubt. 18 years old, 6'10", playing with grown men in Turkey. Again, I say this so many times, the grown men thing, because, you know, playing in college, sometimes for a big, it's easy to just use your size to your advantage. Maybe you're bigger than everybody, but playing with grown men, size is not just going to get this guy the points. It's not just going to be size. He's got to have the ability as well, and my goodness, does he have the ability playing here. He averaged over 19 points per game playing, again, in a professional basketball league, so already very impressed with that, posing that 19.2 points per game and 9.4 rebounds per game. He is definitely a bit of a rebound machine, even at 6'10". But where this guy lives is the offensive glass. 4.1 offensive rebounds per game. That is a tremendous stat that you would expect to be able to transition into the NBA as well. The fact that he is very good, very talented at rebounding. We've seen with other players, size isn't everything for rebounding. Also a good rebounder here. 2.5 assists per game as well. That's not something I'm going to be too concerned about because he's a big. I think that can grow in the NBA. But the 64.6 field goal percentage is utterly ridiculous. He is a menace on the inside. He is a post-up machine, a half-court fundamental machine, and you will see that as we transition into the strengths category as well. Also had the 1.7 blocks per game, which is quite nice to show he has a little bit of interior defense. And also, I didn't put in the graphic, but he has 81% shooting from the free throw line. This guy, from what I learned, lives on the offensive glass, on those second chance points, and also lives at the free throw line. The fact that he can do all these things, finish at such a good clip, and pose an 81% free throw percentage just showcases his ability, because there are many bigs who you just have to foul because they're not going to get their points to the line, but this guy's not going to fit in that category. He can absolutely get to the line and finish there. So with all that in mind, let's get into the strengths of why I like this guy so much. So I would say the biggest reason why I like this guy so much is that he plays bully ball in the interior, but can also be a slithery finisher. And these kind of go in towards being a guy who has elite half-court fundamentals. He can play bully ball, and even though he's 18 playing with grown men, he can absolutely body these guys in the paint and will his way to the basket. But when he needs to, he can contort his body, get around contact, and still get that finish at the rim. And with those half-court fundamentals, again, he can go through contact to finish, which is why he gets so many opportunities at the line. Lots of and one opportunities, again, going through that contact and still getting the finish. All of these help him to have those half-court fundamentals. I'd say he plays some elite basketball in the post. He loves the back down. He loves to spin off his defender in the back down to get to the rim. He just always resorts to the back down because that is his bread and butter. Knows how to create his own shot. He's very patient, very calculated on the inside, which leads to, again, that 64.6 field goal percentage that I definitely was a big fan of when I looked up this player. Playmaking wise, he's got decent handles in the full court. Doesn't really run an offense, but he's not going to be out of his element when he's got a ball handle up the court. Obviously, you'd rather have the point guard in there, but when he does have to get tasked with this thing, he can get it done. He knows how to pick a pass, and he's got good playmaking in the half court. Not really as, the primary playmaker, but that court facilitator at the top of the key, which the Raptors definitely do employ. They've had it with Marc Gasol. They tried to employ it with Aaron Baines without much success, but Alperen Şengün can definitely get it done, at that free throw line playmaker. Won't always get those assists, but maybe the pass to the assist, he won't be out of rotation. He definitely keeps the rotation going on offense there. We saw with those stats that he's got the offensive rebounding down pat, fantastic at getting those offensive rebounds and putting in those second chance points, and he's got a tremendous pick and roll game. As the roller, he goes downhill to the basket when he gets the ball, finishes with authority, as I mentioned earlier from the half-court fundamentals, from the finishing, finishes with authority, throws it down when he needs to. He's an excellent dunker in the pick and roll. Not the most flashy dunks, but can absolutely throw it down with some authority. And he's also got some elite catch and finish vibes. If he's in the late in the pick and roll and he's getting at the rim, catches it, goes up strong. He knows how to get those backdoor cuts, knows how to cut to the basket. He's got great awareness of the floor. Just a very good offensive threat. So much to like about him there. And finally, he's got the three-point shooting mechanics down. Didn't showcase the fact that he could hit threes at a good clip in the Super League, but many scouts, so you could look at any scouting report in this guy, he's got those mechanics down, and it's something that is projected to improve heavily in the NBA, something that he's going to get down in the NBA. So most top scouts would say that he's going to get that three-point ball down, which will just even help him more on the interior because you'll actually have to go defend him on the outside, creating a lot more space for other guys on the inside. So of course, would it be fair to talk about his strengths and not talk about his weaknesses? And there absolutely are some weaknesses about this guy's game. I'd say the biggest one is his lateral quickness. When he's got to move his hips on defense, he does kind of struggle. So when you take him out to the perimeter, that's where you can kind of expose his game because, again, he is a little bit heavy-footed in these dynamics. Conditioning might be a little bit of an issue as well, which could improve, but there's a lot to work on for his lateral quickness and perimeter defense. He can definitely get exposed when he is put into a pick-and-roll situation. But on the interior, a much better defender, but these are certainly a concern for the Raptors because he doesn't particularly rotate well, and the Raptors rely heavily on rotations on defense, but for a center, it's going to be very difficult to find a guy who can fit that dynamic, and I think that Alperen Şengün definitely possesses some traits that maybe you could develop this part of his game. Another weakness about his game is, again, the jump shot reluctance. We talked about the fact that he's got the mechanics, but he doesn't like to use it very often. This is something that definitely needs to change. He really resorts heavily to that back down, post up type of offense, which can kind of trap him in some situations because he's a little bit too predictable sometimes, and even though he's got the fundamentals to get it done often, sometimes that predictability leads to him getting trapped. A double comes, they swarm him, which can force a couple turnovers. His athleticism is definitely going to be called into question here. Again, getting on the outside on the perimeter, not always going to be the best guy and can't really create his own shot from the half court in terms of being on the outside. Definitely lives on the inside. Not that that's a huge problem, but athletics are a bit of a problem. His bounce may be a little bit of a problem. His vertical, so on defense when he's wanting to get those blocks, that might be a slight problem, and his length as well can lead to some problems in terms of blocking on the interior and maybe finishing around like big guys who are way bigger than him in the NBA. But these are all things that can be worked on, but they are clear weaknesses about his game at this present point. So again, I mentioned that the player comparable was not going to be Nikola Jokic because truthfully, I don't see a ton of Nikola Jokic in this guy. But what I do see, I see almost a carbon copy replica of Domantas Sabonis in this guy. And I'm a big fan of Domantas Sabonis. I think you should be a big fan of Domantas Sabonis as well. He is just so fundamentally sound with the ability to do some playmaking. He's a triple-double threat on any given night, especially a double-double machine. Domantas Sabonis can stretch out and hit the threes. And on the inside, he's not flashy. There's no flash about his game. He's just so fundamentally sound. He's patient. He's calculated. He knows the court. He is very aware of his surroundings, gets the rim, finishes, fundamentally. Just get the ball in the basket. Doesn't need to be anything fancy about it. And I see a lot of similarities between Domantas Sabonis and Alperen Şengün. And that is why I feel like his game will transition well into the NBA. Domantas Sabonis isn't the biggest guy in terms of his height, but he's definitely got a good build, as does Şengün. And this can transition into the NBA. They've got those post moves down. They've got those post moves almost as second nature. And also, Domantas Sabonis has the ability to spread the floor, as does Şengün, or as he will develop, the projections would indicate in the NBA. A lot of parallels between this guy, so I think if you're a fan of Domantas Sabonis, which I definitely am, you're going to be a fan of Alperen Şengün, and I think that his game is going to transition very well into the NBA. Remember, this is the worst case scenario from the draft lottery, and I still think that this is a good player for the Raptors to take. Maybe there's some other guys you're indicating, but I definitely wanted to switch up the vibes here because we did 2 shooting guards already this week. I want to talk about a center. And if you're not getting Evan Mobley from the center position in this draft, then I think you should absolutely have your eye on a guy like Alperen Şengün. Many guys, many other Raptors channels have talked about this guy, I think, quite highly, but I'm absolutely going to jump on the hype train for this guy. I'd be very happy for the Raptors to walk away with this guy if they end up falling to the 10th pick. Some guys even say with the 7th or 8th pick, we should take this guy. And Alperen Şengün kind of walks around with that swagger, with that confidence that he's going to come into the NBA and he is going to make his mark. He doesn't want scouts to make the mistake with Nikola Jokic, letting him slide to 41st overall, as we saw Jokic's MVP. Şengün walks around with that confidence that he is going to make his mark and possibly be the next European star to dominate the NBA. So that is it from me for today's video. Let me know what you guys think about Alperen Şengün, and let me know who you think the Raptors should take with the 10th overall pick, if not this guy. Let me know all your thoughts and opinions in the comments down below, because that is the end of the video. Thank you so much for watching. If you are still here, be sure to hit that like button to show your support to the channel. Help us reach some new viewers and indicate that you made it to the end of the video. It goes a long way with the algorithm to bring in some new viewers to immerse themselves within this content, which just be more fun for everybody. Check out our Twitch, twitch.tv/amateursports, where we watch a ton of NBA playoff games, plus do other video game content and such. Make sure to subscribe to the channel. Again, we're on our road to 4,000 subscribers. You can help us get there. Hit the notification bell as well to stay up to date with the content, other videos by the channel that you may enjoy. And always remember, at the end of the day, believe what I say, and if you disagree, that is okay. Remember to enjoy the grind, and I'll see you again next time.